Hey, good day, everybody. Welcome back to our Chavruta sessions live from Jerusalem with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg of the Noahide World Center. We're doing some wonderful lessons out of the Kuzari first essay, and we're on lesson 9 today. Very, very interesting lesson. I had a chance to go over it with my Chavruta partner. Hopefully, you folks have done your homework as well if you're partaking of this class. I did put the links down below if you want to sign up or if you want the link to today's material. It's in there in YouTube and Facebook. So on that note, let's just jump right in and say hello to Rabbi Goldberg. Shalom, Rabbi. How are you doing today?
Hi, good evening. Good evening. Hope everybody is fine.
Oh,
We're
new
doing well. What are you
background.
doing?
Looks good.
Hey, my kids took my computer. You see what's happening?
Excellent.
Fair
Looks
enough.
good. Nice cutout. Yeah. Okay. I'll turn the class over to you, sir.
Yes, good evening. Good evening, everybody. I'm doing well. Hope everybody is doing well. Tonight, yeah, we can dive inside straight ahead. Um, I said maybe we need just to mention that the whole world today is the fight or the war that we have between Ukraine and Russia, between Israel and Gaza, and the north also, Hezbollah. It's also a bit between China and Taiwan. Okay, there's also something there that is happening. It's some sort of a spillover, and hopefully, I will say it like that. We all know the Genesis story. And in the Genesis story, there is a stage that is a very down. The situation is very down because the brothers sold out Joseph. And it says that Jacob was very in a down situation. He was very upset that his son died. This is what he thought. And Reuben did a mistake. So he was also outside from everything. And Judah also did Jacob was very angry with Judah, so he sent him downwards also. But God, in the meanwhile, organized everything that Joseph will become a king, and everything will repair again. So there are times in history that we all feel that everything is unstable and very shakable, and we don't know exactly what's happening. And in the United States, there's also some sort of interesting debate. In Europe, you can find it in a lot of places, as we said, as we mentioned before also. But we know that God is guiding the history. So let's cheer up and let's learn a bit more to acknowledge God and to bring God to presence in our behavior. Before we'll dive inside to the things that they ask you to read, and it's a short paragraph. It's only, it's one of the shortest paragraphs that I sent you. But on the other side, there is something very important there, and I want to remind the framework that we are learning. Now we're going to dive inside to one of the biggest debates between the Hebrew nation and the Christians and the Muslims. The Christians says for the last 2,000 years that they replaced the Hebrew people. The Muslims also are saying that the Hebrew people are not part of the history, that they are the most important people there. And it all starts with a question about the golden crafts and how to explain this story of the golden crafts. So now we're going to learn tonight only I will say, the background, the premises, the most important points, how to approach the story of the golden craft that we're going to read only next week. Okay, tonight we're not going to read the golden craft. We're going to have some sort of a preparation for understanding the story of the golden crafts. So we'll manage to understand the story in the right way. But before we will dive inside, I have a question, and if it's okay, don't hesitate, answer in the chat, and then we'll try to discuss it. The question is very simple. I have a question. How do you define the Torah? The Torah, the five parts of the Torah. Okay, the Bible, the Hebrew Bible, but the Hebrew Bible is in 3 parts. How do you define the Torah in 1 sentence? What is the purpose of the Torah in 1 sentence? Try to define it. Don't hesitate. You know, it's not the blueprint. Blueprint of what? Reveal Hashem's kindship. Blueprint of the universe. Guidebook for humanity to live righteously. Everything that is being said. Vision of the God to the world. But vision of the God to the world. The instructions are from God, a very large domain. Guiding principles are fundamental for believers. Joseph. I can't see Joseph, okay? A tool of contact to Hashem. Martina. Where do you live, Martina, you said? In the United States, right? Okay. Life, how to live.
I live in South Carolina, United States.
Okay, I remember it rightly. Okay, fair enough. God who He is. Okay, you answered a lot of answers. I won't say that they are wrong answers. Okay, all the things that you said are an outcome of the main thing. And the main thing is, first of all, is God speaking with the human. Okay, this is the most important thing. After that, we can understand why is He speaking with human? Because He wants to instruct him how to live, so we will be able to knowledge or to have a connection with Him. So the divine guidance in this world, presidency, all those answers, they're coming after the most important sentence. God is connecting with the universe. He's connecting, you know, it's like, remember the famous words, okay? Houston, this is Apollo 1, okay? He's sitting on in the moon and he's saying, Houston, it's Apollo 1. Okay, so God is saying to the human being, Adam, okay, well, in a moment we will see a bit more. Adam, it's God, I want to speak with you. And we see this already in the first chapter. Straight after God is creating men, Adam and Eve, or in the first chapter it's humanity, the human, he is speaking with him, he is dealing with him, he is saying to him something, okay? Except it's something different from all the other creatures that God created, okay? Let me show this for a moment. It's very important. It's chapter 1, okay? We have this already in chapter 1. Go, chapter 1. God is not speaking with anything. Okay, He's not speaking with the light. He's creating the light. He's not speaking with the light. Okay, He's not speaking with anything. He's not speaking with anything. And only at the 6th day, after He is creating men in His image, okay, there will be a verse, and God blessed them, and God said to them, what is said to them? God is speaking with the human being. Okay, only with human, God is speaking. And this is, I will say, the approach of the Torah. And then coming all the things that you said. All the things that you said are good. I'm not saying they're not good. But here I'm coming to the second question. And please try to think again, or to say, or to try to be more exact with yourself. How God is speaking with humanity in the Bible. How exactly God is speaking with humanity in the Bible? Again, use the chat. Okay? I will give you a hint, and then I will close the hint, okay? The hint is Genesis chapter 5. Fair enough. Okay, in a moment we'll see it. Try to think for a moment. What is, I will say, how God is speaking with humanity? through prophets, in an audio fashion. Okay, some sort of an idea. I'm going to surprise you a bit. I can see that. Fair enough. It's true that he is speaking with the prophets. Okay? With the prophets, he's speaking directly. I agree with that. We're all saying it's true, he's speaking through the prophets. Okay? The prophets are on the other side. Today, we don't have any prophets. Okay, I want to remind us all, if someone claims that he is a prophet, take him to the right hospital. There is no prophets today. I saw God. Fair enough. Okay, let's take you to the right hospital. You know, let's jump for a moment. Okay, to the indirectly to families. Oh, interesting, Jacob. Okay, so inside of you, it's also true. The prophet it's prophecy is something inside the human being. It's true. Let me jump for a moment and teach you something that one of the secrets, I will say, okay, of the Hebrew. It's bothering us. Here it is. Okay, one of the secrets of the Hebrew. Okay, of the Hebrew. Just a moment. I want to that you won't bother me. Just a moment. I'm sorry. I'm still seeing you also on the screen. Please read the first verse here, in chapter number 5.
All right. This is the narrative of the generations of man on the day that God created man. In the likeness of God, he created him.
We have here on one side, it says that he created man in the likeness of God. Or he's similar. There's something similar between human being and God. But there's also another thing. And here we're studying, I will say, instead of saying the narrative, I will say the history of the world. There is some sort of a narrative in this world. Through this narrative, God is speaking with us. Today we have this word, the narrative word. I can tell you that in a personal level, okay, as a high school principal, I was also teaching in a narrative way some things, groups all over the world, okay, that I gave lectures, something that is a narrative thing. One of the most amazing thing is if you're going back to an event, and a very important event that you passed in your life, you will say it differently to the people around you. You will say it differently to your parents, you will say it differently to your spouse, you will say it differently to your kids, you will say it differently to your friends, you will say it differently to your colleagues. The same story. In each person that you're speaking with, you will say it in a way that will emphasize something else that is related with the relation that you have with them. I'm speaking about, stories that changed you. Not I woke up this morning and I washed my mouth. This is something, okay, everybody's doing. You have nothing to say about it. It's not something that is very important. And stories that are changing your narrative in life, that are defining your narrative in life, you will say them differently. It's something that happened in all languages, all over the world, okay? Not only in Israel or in Hebrew, or to teenagers, or to people that 20 or 40 or 50 or 60 years old. So the narrative, what God is speaking with us through some sort of a narrative of the history. The Bible is showing us a kind of narrative that God wants us to realize that is happening in this history of the world, and how God is guiding the history of the world in some sort of a way. Okay, in a very unique way. I want to say that the translation is a bit good. In Hebrew, it says the word toldot. You see this word, toldot. Toldot is being mentioned few times in the Bible, and especially in Genesis. And the truth is that the word Genesis is the word toldot, is the word narrative today. Okay? Genesis is the word toldot. It's who came after whom, and who is continuing the progress. Now, also another thing. One of the most important things that the humanity is watching or waiting for is to have the, I will say, the Superman that will come to this world. Okay, the son of Adam and Eve. What is the difference between Adam and Eve and the rest of the world? Adam and Eve were created by God. Think about this for a moment, okay? Adam and Eve, they have no weaknesses for anything. They have nothing, because God have nothing. Nothing is stopping him from creating in the way that he wanted to create them. Now, what we're wishing, or what we're aiming, is to have, I will say, the person that will bring the Messiah, the person that will finalize. So I will say it like that. The whole world in the last 6,000 years, the history of the world, is like a womb of a woman that is trying to take out the Superman that will be the Messiah for the world. And God is teaching us in Genesis the narrative that is happening here. Now, let's go inside and look a bit for the things that we want to learn tonight. Okay, so let's start step by step, and first read the first 92, 93, 94, and then we'll continue, please.
Okay, 92. Al-Kuzari says, "Take care, O Rabbi, lest too great indulgence in the description of the superiority of thy people make thee not unbearable, causing thee to overlook what is known of their disobedience despite the revelation. I have heard that in the midst of it they made a calf and worshipped it." The rabbi says, "A sin reckoned all the heavier on account of their greatness. Great is he whose sins are counted." Al-Kuzari, "This is what makes thee tedious and makes thee appear partial to thy people. What sin could be more significant than this? And what deed could have exceeded this?"
Now, again, we're not going to answer that tonight. Tonight, we're going to have the premises, the foundations to understand the answer. That will be next week, okay? We'll learn it next week, the answer. But first of all, we need to realize that this is one of the most hardest debates that was along history, to prove, to say that the Hebrew nation was being replaced. So let's see for a moment. Let's start to learn, dive inside, step by step, how the Hebrew nation sees the narrative of Genesis, or the narrative of God. He is speaking with us not only through the prophets. The prophets is something that was for a very long time, 1,000 years to maybe 1,200 years. We don't know exactly, or we can't say exactly the timings. And this is the prophecy that we had. But even before that, there was some sort of a prophecy. And after the prophecy stopped, there is something here that God is speaking with us through the narrative, and it all starts in Genesis. So let's learn it step by step. First of all, okay, read the first part. Let's go step by step.
Okay, 95. Please. The rabbi says, "Bear with me a little while, that I show the lofty station of the people. 1. Adam being a perfect being. For me, it is sufficient that God chose them as his people from all nations of the world, allowed his influence to rest on all of them, and that they nearly approached being addressed by him. It even descended on their women, among whom were prophetesses, whilst since Adam, only isolated individuals had been inspired till then. 2. The inheritance of divine influence.
Just a moment,
Adam,
just a moment.
Sure.
Just a moment. First of all, okay, we're starting with this, that we're starting from something here, starting from Adam. I think we said it more than once. The whole story is not starting with the Hebrew nation. The Hebrew nation will come. There's a long time here until we will come to the Hebrew nation. We start with Adam. This is the first thing that we do. And now let's start to to drill inside to what is Adam. Please read part number 2, and that's it, please.
Okay, part 2, the inheritance of divine influence. Adam was perfection itself because no flaw could be found in a work of a wise and almighty creator. Wrought from a substance chosen by him and fashioned according to his own design, there was no restraining influence, no fear of atavism, no question of nutrition or education during the years of childhood and growth. Neither was there the influence of climate, water, or soil to consider, for he created him in the form of an adolescent, perfect in body and in mind. The soul with which he was endowed was ideal. His intellect was the loftiest which it is possible for a human being to possess, and beyond this he was gifted with the divine power of such high rank that it brought him into connection with divine beings and spiritual, and enabled him with slight reflection to comprehend the great truths without instruction. We call him God's son, and we call all those who were like him also sons of God. He left many children, of whom the only one capable of taking his place was Abel, because he alone was like him. After Cain slain him through jealousy of this privilege, it passed to his brother Seth, who also was like Adam, being as it were his essence and heart, whilst the others were like husks and rotten fruit. The essence of Seth then passed to Enosh, and in this way the divine influence was inherited by isolated individuals down to Noah. They are compared to the heart. They resembled Adam and were styled sons of God. They were perfect outwardly and inwardly, their lives, knowledge, and ability being likewise faultless. Their lives fix the chronology from Adam to Noah and from Noah to Abraham.
Okay, so there's something here very interesting. There are a few things here that he said, hinting in some sort of a way. First of all, we're starting with Adam. Adam himself was perfect. God created him in our also tradition. He wasn't created as a baby. He was created as 20 years old. Okay, but God created him. Nothing stopped God from creating him in a perfect way, and God gave him the perfect soul, and he was some sort of a kind of the son of God. God, he was his father. Okay, now let's jump for a moment to Genesis. I put it just next to it. Okay, let's jump to Genesis chapter 6. Okay. And when we read in chapter 6, okay, I must show this first of all in the okay. I know that Jacob knows how to read Hebrew. Please read verse number 2.
All right. That the sons of the nobles saw the daughters of man when they were beautifying themselves, and they took for themselves wives from whomever they chose.
Now, the word here, the sons of the nobles, it's not a good translation. Okay, Jacob, can you open your mic? You know a bit of Hebrew, right? What is written down here? Do you know how to read it? Or I need to read it. Vayiru bnei ha. We can't hear you.
God is what it says.
Okay. Vayiru, who are we speaking here? It's not the nobles. It's the sons of God. It's written down here in Hebrew, the sons of God. Okay. Now the question is, who are the sons of God? So we have the interpretation that we have, with Rashi, with Ibn Ezra, with the Ramban, with those. They say that here we have the people that are, I will say, that the straight destiny of Adam and Eve. Okay, and now the Kuzari is starting with I will say, I'm jumping back to the Kuzari. Okay? This was Genesis number 6, verse 2. I'm going back to the Kuzari. One of the things that the Kuzari is showing here, he is saying there are those who are straight ahead exactly like Adam. They were exactly like Adam. Okay, it passed over. You know what? I will show this here. In chapter 5, for example. Let's go back a bit. Read verse number 3 for a moment.
3. And Adam lived 130 years, and he begot in his likeness after his image, and he named him Seth.
Seth is on the same image, and just like Adam. It's written down. It's not me saying it, okay? We spoke a moment ago, we spoke about the narrative. We're starting to realize the history of the world. Now, the truth is that we started the world with a failure, okay? In chapter 4, we know the failure. The failure is that Cain is slaughtering Abel. Who was Abel? Who was Abel? Abel was the person that was in the likeness of Adam. Cain wasn't in the likeness of Adam. And Abel was slaughtered by Cain. So we have here already the first failure. And it's going on to continue the failure after failure after failure. Well, God have, I will say it in this way, there are those who are getting, I will say, it's like, maybe the best way to express it, it's like the matches when I'm lighting the candle. You all know that, right? It's I'm lighting the match, and then I'm putting it next to the candle, and it takes a few seconds, maybe part of seconds, until it's catching suddenly, and the light is becoming on the candle itself. Okay, so there are those along history, and this is what he is expressing here, those that the prophecy or the likeness of Adam continued with them. Not everybody, but there are those. It started with Abel, but Abel was slaughtered. Fair enough. So then Seth. After Seth, we have Enosh, and we have Cain, Mahalalel. You know, those after him. It's all written down in chapter 6 in Genesis. Who continued after whom? But in chapter 6, and also after that, in chapter 11, we're going to see that. Not 11, 12. Oh, sorry, 11. We'll see this. Here we have some sort of a continuous. Adam, after 180 years, after he gave birth and Seth was in his image, he had also another, he begot sons and daughters, others who are not in the same likeness and image of Adam. And he lived what he lived. And then we're going to Seth. After Seth, he's bringing, or after him, will be Enosh. After Enosh, okay, then he's bringing also hundreds, he lived 100 years, and he also brought more, begot sons and daughters. Fair enough. And then we have Canaan, what we call. And then in chapter 5, we have 10 generations, until we're coming to whom? At the end of this, the first 10 generations, we have Noach. Lamech, he lived 180 years, 2 years, and he begot a son, and he named him Noach. Noach in Hebrew is comfortable. Comfortable. There is something comfortable coming to this world. So sages are saying that until then, they didn't know, the fingers wasn't splitted. So it was hard for them to work, to do very gentle work. And Noach already was born with the fingers that was split one from each other. So they said, oh, something here new came to this world, and it will be more comfortable for us to live in this world now. Now we have splitted fingers. We all know that. Fair enough. But those 10 generations, this is, I will say, the history of the world, of the main person, that the light is passing from one to another one. Not all of them. not all of them. Sometimes it skips one of them. And this is what we're going to read in the next part. Please read part number 3.
Part number 3, the spread of the divine influence to a nation. There were some, however, among them who did not come under divine influence, as Terah, but his son Abraham was the disciple of his grandfather Eber, and was born in the lifetime of Noah. Thus the divine...
Just a moment. First of all, we see there were some, however, among them who did not come under the divine
influence.
Okay? Terach was someone that the flame skipped him. If you will go to the numbers of the years, you will see that we can skip him because Abraham saw Noah. Abraham was 58 when Noah died. If you go to the numbers of the, do the calculation, you will see.
Yeah.
58, it's not a young person. He met Noah, he met Shem, he met Abel, he met them. He spoke with them, he learned from them. Just that you will know, the first yeshiva wasn't the yeshiva of the Hebrew people. Sorry, it was the yeshiva of the Hebrew people. Okay? The first yeshiva wasn't for the Jewish people. The first yeshiva was of Shem and Abel. Shem and Abel had a yeshiva, and they were teaching their people prophecies. They were teaching their people how to behave one with each other. Shem was a specialist with the relation between man and his fellow man, and Abel was a specialist with man and God, prophecies. Wow. And both of them were the head of the yeshiva, the first yeshiva of the world, that was teaching a lot of people how to behave. Do you know where they were placed? They were placed in Jerusalem. Wow, amazing. Wow, now we're starting to realize why the main fight today is on Jerusalem. Everybody wants to have to hold this place. We want to be the holy people, okay? Shem and Abel were the first yeshiva. Jacob, when he ran away from Esau, another big failure in the family, okay? That Esau wanted to kill, to slaughter Jacob. So for 14 years, he learned in Shem and Abel. From whom he learned to go to learn there? From Abraham. So Terach was, it skipped a generation. The flame didn't pass through Terach. Terach was idol worship, big idol worship. He was also one of the masters that taught a lot of people how to worship idolatry. Fair enough. So it skipped him. But we have still some sort of I will say, flame that is passing from one person to another. And now please read again the 3 from beginning to the end, because we're going to skip to another stage.
Okay, it says, thus the divine spirit descended from the grandfather to the grandchildren. Abraham represented the essence of Eber, being his disciple, and for this reason he was called Ibri. Eber represented the essence of Shem, the later that of Noah. He inherited the temperate zone, the center and principal part of which is Palestine, the land of prophecy. Japheth turned towards north, and Ham towards the south. The essence of Abraham passed over to Isaac, to the exclusion of the other sons who were all removed from the land, the special inheritance of Isaac. The prerogative of Isaac descended on Jacob, whilst Esau was sent from the land which belonged to Jacob. The sons of the latter were all worthy of the divine influence, as well as of the country distinguished by the divine spirit. This is the first instance of the divine influence descending on many people, whereas it had previously only vouchsafed to isolated individuals.
We're passing here to a very interesting stage. First of all, there are very simple, I will say, we're doing here a summary of the Genesis story. Okay, it's concentrating, going from the whole world towards this family of Abraham, only Isaac from Abraham, and then after that also only Jacob from Isaac, All of this we know from the story of Genesis, and it's written down there, okay, that Esau went away from the Hebrew land because he didn't manage to sit down with Jacob after Jacob came back from Laban from Haran. And with Ishmael, it's also being said, but it's in a hint way, okay? It says that he is doing repentance at the end of the days. We are today in the days that it's being, I can tell you, I know that we are on the internet, but I will say things here without telling too much details. Just I will say that we in the last few months, we're not working only with the West world, okay, that you all know that we're working and we have something like 15 languages, whatever it is. We are also working in the Arab world, and we have connections with people and also with people that big masters in the Arab world. And some of them are saying to us that in their religion, it says that the Hebrew people are supposed to come back to their homeland. And they are against the Hamas and those people who are trying to say, that the Hebrew people are not supposed to be in this world. Fair enough, but it's not. The main point I want to say here is that we're moving two things. First of all, we're starting to realize how God is speaking with us in this world through the history and the narrative of this world. Not only through prophecy, but also through actions of we see who are the people that are getting the divine influence inside them, the divine presence inside them in the land of Israel. The land of Israel, by the way, the Hebrew land is in the Middle East, but it's connecting Europe, the Africa region, and also the Asia. All those three are connected with the Hebrew land. Okay, and this is the place of the prophecy, the middle side of the prophecy, the land of the prophecy, and the people of the prophecy. And one of the most important spots or points that we're moving here is that we're moving from the individuals to a nation. Okay, they are all being created as a full nation, and this is what also being said to Abraham. I will bring you, I will do you, or I will, it says in the chapter 12, okay? You will become a big nation. This is what God is saying to Abraham. This is what he's organizing for us in chapter 12. And there's a difference also with this. No. Sorry. Fine. Okay. God said to Abraham, go forth. And then he says, and I will make you into a great nation. And this is exactly what the Rabbi Chaim is explaining here in the Kuzari. God is moving from individuals to a whole nation, not only a personal thing. And now let's go to the continuous of the story, of the narrative that is happening here, that God is telling us in the Bible. Please read 4 and 5, please.
4, Egypt and the flourishing of chosen people. Then God tended them in Egypt, multiplied and aggrandized them, as a tree with a sound root grows until it produces perfect fruit, resembling the first fruit from which it was planted. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, and his brethren. The seed further produces Moses, Aaron, Miriam, Bezalel, Oholiab, and the chiefs of the tribes of the 70 elders, who were all endowed with the spirit of prophecy. Then Joshua, Caleb, Hur, and many others. The visible presence of God and imperfections. Then they became worthy of having the divine light and providence made visible to them. 6, the hidden essence and transmission.
Just a moment. All those things are being written down again in the Bible. If we will jump for a moment to not to Genesis, to Numbers, to chapter 12. Okay, sorry, chapter 11. Sorry, chapter 11. When Moses is saying, it's too hard for me to cope with this nation, with this big nation. Okay, I will show you the verse that it says here. Please read verse. Please read verses. I'm saying Moses complained to God that it's hard for him to carry on this nation. Please read verses 11 and 12. No, this is Numbers. Numbers chapter 11.
All right, 11 verse 11. Moses said to the Lord, "Why have you treated your servant so badly? Why have I not found favor in your eyes that you place the burden of this entire people upon me?" Good question. 12. Did I
12
conceive
also.
this entire people? Did I give birth to them that you say to me, "Carry them in your bosom as the nurse carries the suckling, to the land you promised their forefathers"?
He is complaining. Moses is saying, it's too hard for me. All those people, they're all the time complaining. They're having a lot of, I'm getting a lot of hard time with them. And then God is doing with him something very interesting. And he's also, by the way, saying another very important thing. Read the verse 14 and 15, please.
14. Alone I cannot carry this entire people, for it is too hard for me. 15. If this is the way you treat me, please kill me if I have found favor in your eyes, so that I not see my misfortune. Wow.
Fair enough. Good complaint, right? So what is the answer of God? Read verses 16 and 17, please.
Then the Lord said to Moses, "Assemble for me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom you know to be the people's elders and officers, and you shall take them to the tent of meeting, and they shall stand there with you. And I will come down and speak with you there, and I will increase the spirit that is upon you and bestow it upon them. Then they will bear the burden of the people with you, so that you need not bear it alone."
It's like a candle that is giving to 70 other candles. What is happening? We have much more light, right? It's the same light, much more light. Twice amount, 70 times amount. And this is exactly what the Kuzari said here. Okay, he is hinting to this point that the 70 elders, okay, were also part of the people since then, by the way, until the Temple Mount was destroyed. We had, along all of the history, also the 70 elders, 72 elders, okay, that carried on, and they had the prophets inside them, the prophecy, not only them, but also them, and they carried on with the Hebrew people. So it was a nation that was sitting in the land of prophecy, had a lot of prophecies, and they had also the divine prophecy, the divine presence inside them. Through the 72 people, through those 70 elders of the Hebrew nation. Always someone replaced others. You know, those who died, passed over to the next world, they were replaced with others. Okay, let's read 6, please.
6. The hidden essence and transmission through generations. If disobedient men existed among them, they were hated, but remained without doubt of the essence, since they were part of it on account of their descent and nature, and begat children who were of the same stamp. An ungodly man received consideration in proportion to the minuteness of the essence with which he was endowed, for it reappeared in his children and grandchildren according to the purity of their lineage. This is how we regard Terah and others in whom the divine afflatus was not visible, though to a certain extent it underlay his natural disposition, so that he begat a descendant filled with the essence, which was not the case with all the posterity of Ham and Japheth.
Very important point. I think that this is one of the most a milestone of the differences, how the Hebrew nation sees things, and the rest of the world. I will say it like that.
Right.
Okay? In the Hebrew nation, we say something very simple. The Hebrew people have some sort of we'll say, ingredients inside them, that they have those components and possibilities of becoming prophets. Now, it might be that someone is not behaving in the right way. Therefore, him specifically, it won't go out. It won't show his possibilities. But it's inside him. It might be that it won't be with him, but it will be with his kids or with his grandkids. But he is still part of this nation. Well, you can't go out from this nation. Something amazing that is not, I will say, unacceptable for the rest of the world. You can't go out from the Hebrew nation. To go out from the Hebrew nation, there is some sort of a way that we are treating, the Hebrew nation is treating people in a way that we are rejecting them, or we're not letting them, or we're not giving them the possibility to be part of the Hebrew nation in some sort of an actions. But you can't, if they will do repentance, they will come back. The Hebrew people, in some sort of a way, have some sort of ingredients inside them that you can't reject them from becoming a Hebrew people. It could be that along history, a person from the Hebrew nation will go out from the Hebrew nation, not him himself, his destiny. If he will marry a non-Jewish girl, so the kids won't be Jewish kids, fair enough. But he himself, he's a Jewish. He can come back. He can do repentance and become Jewish again, or become, a pure Jewish again. And this is what he's saying here. Well, some of the people of the world and some of the religious of the world are sure that the presence of God is related with the behavior of the people. It's half true. Okay, the Hebrew nation, even if they're not behaving in the right way, they're still the Hebrew nation. They will get punishment. They will be in the exile. They will be in a place. When you're putting a seed, he said in part 4 that God preserved the seeds of the Hebrew nation inside of Egypt. When you will take the seed of every tree and you will put it inside the ground, in the first 2 weeks you will see that it's rotten. After 2-3 weeks, it's starting to grow again. But at the time that it's rotten, it's rotten. It smells like a rotten thing, and you can't do anything with this. It could be that someone along the history, I will say, along the narrative of the history of the Hebrew nation, him specifically is a rotten part. But it's only for growing up in the next generation, an amazing tree. Okay? And this is what he said in 6. Let's read for more in 7, and then I'm ready for questions, please.
All right. 7, nature as a parallel, the reappearance of traits. We perceive a similar phenomenon in nature at large. Many people do not resemble their father, but take after their grandfathers. There cannot consequently be any doubt that this nature and resemblance was hidden in the father, although it did not become visible outwardly, as was the nature of Eber in his children, until it reappeared in Abraham.
Okay, so we have here the idea that it might be that it's being hidden in one generation, but we need to look on the history of the world, the narrative of the Genesis, of the generations. Okay, Genesis is coming from generations. The history of the world, a long history of the world, it's, I will say, one thing that will appear at the end. One of the things that the Christian will try to say about the Hebrew nation, they lost it. No, we didn't lose it. Okay, we see it today. Please read the end of this part 96, because it's an opening for the next week, please.
Right, 96. El Kuzari responds, "This is the true greatness, which descended directly from Adam. He was the noblest creature on earth, therefore you rank above all the other inhabitants of the planet."
But what of this privilege at the time when that sin was committed? Okay, so he's not understanding it until the bottom line, and we need to explain. Now we can, after we have the right, I will say, foundations, we can discuss the sin of the golden craft. After we understand who are those people and what those people bring into this world. It's a very important part. This what we read now, 95. It's a very, very important part, and we came to a stage that we're starting to realize what exactly the Torah is trying to teach us. It's the words of God through the eyes of the narrative of the world and the destiny of the world. God is trying to show us along history how He is, I will say, guiding the world to the Messiah age. Okay, there is a way how God is guiding the world. Sometimes it's hard situations. Sometimes it's much easier to see it. I think that today we're in an era of 2-3 years. I don't know if it will finish, in the next coming 2 or 3 months, or it will continue to go even harder. And we're in a stage that it's not easy. Okay, 100 years ago, we had 2 big world wars that were not easy in those days. But there is a progress. What happened after the Second World War? The Hebrew nation came back to their homeland. It started already in the First World War, where England conquered the place or the Hebrew lands and stated that they're not taking it for themselves, but they're only holding it to the Hebrew people. And after the Second World War, they gave it to the Hebrew people to build up a state. So the wars, I don't like wars. Okay, unfortunately, we almost every day we have 1, 2, 3, and sometimes we have 6 or 7 people who died because of the war, and we are very. It's a very hard time for us this year. Okay, in this year. And sometimes there are also people that or the parents, and it's even harder because if you know someone in a personal level. But I don't like wars. But I'm saying, if you look on the wars that God did, 100 years ago, after all, they had a purpose. Suddenly, the Hebrew nation came back to the homeland. So there is a way that God is guiding the history, and this is basically what He said here in 95. And this is the main thing of the Hebrew, I will say, Bible, to teach us how to look in the right way on the history of the world and how God is guiding the history of the world. And it depends on the behavior of the people, that God will bring it fast away or in a long way. Okay, the Messiah. It depends on us. But this is a different story. I'm here now. I have a few minutes that we can, if someone have any questions, someone is not clear with things that we spoke tonight, let's speak. Yes, please. Not everybody together. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, of course.
Okay, it's working now. So you mentioned that the descent is matrilineal through the mother, but this whole chapter is only dealing with men. Why is it? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not I don't think that I mentioned the mother. No, I understand. I mentioned the mother in a story that I said that if someone is going outside from the Hebrew nation and getting married with a girl that is not from the Hebrew nation, so his kids won't be nominated as a. Why is that? Because in the Hebrew nation, you're going according to the father. Okay, you're a priest, you're a Kohen. If your father is a Kohen, you will be a Kohen. Okay, for example, I'm not a priest, I'm not a Kohen. Okay, but my daughter, one of my daughters, got married with a Kohen. Okay, so I have a grandson that is a Kohen, he's a priest. Hopefully, he will work, he will do his job in the Temple Mount. Yay! I have an inside someone there, inside. Okay, but it's going through the father, not through the mother. Okay, and this is an inside thing in the Hebrew people, but there's also something that is related with the mother. If the mother is not a Jewish mother, so the kids are not Jewish, are not Hebrew. It's a bit, in those two things. Here it's explaining the men side. The Torah is also speaking about the men side, but the Torah is showing us in chapter 2 that they were together, back to back, men and Adam and Eve. God splitted them, okay, and then they were face to face, Adam and Eve. So each person with his soulmates are one. It's a different issue. We can discuss it, not now. But first of all, you need to know, person with his soulmate, man with his wife, wife with his husband, with her husband, they are one. Okay? They're not being split. So we're speaking about, we'll say the main housekeeper, say it like that. Okay, the woman is the one that is related with men. So this is how the Torah is speaking. I know that today, with all of the movement of the woman side, people are saying to themselves, "But I want to be, the woman is more important." It's not more important. They are together. You're one unit, a family. If you start in the early 60s to speak how much the right of the woman in an inappropriate way, what will happen is that you will break down the importance of the family. And this is what's happening in the world today.
May I ask you a question?
I will say, just a moment. By the way, I will say another one more sentence. The Hebrew tradition is very strict with the rights of the woman. I won't go inside to all of this, but it's very, very, I'm not speaking about today. I'm speaking about 4,000 years ago. The Hebrew tradition is very strict to the rights of the woman inside the family and inside the community. Oh, it's a different issue. I won't speak about this now. Yes.
May I ask you a question?
Please.
Did I hear properly that you said that any person who has Jewish blood, despite his behavior, he continues to be part of Israel?
You heard rights? This is what I said. Yes.
Even behaves in bad way, he continues to be part of Israel.
It's true. I will tell you something that I'm saying to people, to kids, when they become on the age of bar mitzvah, okay, when they're starting to become responsible to their behavior, according to the Hebrew tradition. I'm saying to them, I'm asking them, what football or basketball team do you like? Okay, today we have the Europe, right? The Europe is today, in those days, the Europe Cup of the football. Okay, what is the football team do you like? And people are answering, I like this football team or this. And I'm asking them, if someone is going to the playground and he's not playing well, what the coach is doing? The coach is taking him out. I said to him, look, now that you became responsible to your behavior, everything that you're doing is part of the playground. And if you will do bad things, you're drawing down the team of the Hebrew nation. And if you'll do good things, you're pushing us up. So be careful to do only good things. Okay? Now, it's true. God is giving us, 70, 80 years to do repentance. But there are people who are behaving not in the best way. And it's drawing down the Hebrew, I will say, the Hebrew unity and the Hebrew team. Okay.
But despite that, you're saying that they are still part of Israel. True or not?
You can't throw them out. You can't throw them out.
Yes, but when we go to Torah, God make provision with some laws, and he says, if you do this, you will be cut off from the people, from the
Oh, it says, uh, oh,
cut off. What does it
Hey.
mean then? Cut off. Karat.
it's a, I know that there are some verses that you can hear something like that. It's not what it says. And we have also the oral tradition that is explaining much more in a profound way. It might be that in this world you're getting cut off, okay, but then you will come back to this world to repair your behavior, okay. And it's very complicated. It's not. It's an issue that I only hinted. I don't want to go inside. Kuzari is not going inside to this issue too much. It's true that the Torah is saying that if you will do this and this behavior, God is saying, okay, so God forbid, and He will cut you down from this world. He won't give you a chance in this world now. But repentance, you can do it also in the next
He
time
says
that you come to this world.
you'll be cut off not from this world. You'll be cut off from the people of Israel, from the people.
Find me this verse that you're speaking about.
Oh, not now. Now.
Fair enough. Okay, we're going to meet next week. Find me this verse.
Yeah, I will find it.
Fair enough. Okay, I will surprise you. Okay, fair enough. Find me those verses.
Thank you.
Okay. Next week, Golden Craft.
All right.
Fair enough.
Yeah. The golden calf, right? Yeah. The calf, or you call it a craft. I mean, yeah, whatever they fashioned, I'm sure we'll learn more. So you'll be publishing that lesson on tomorrow, hopefully?
I hope tonight or tomorrow morning, my time, it will be published. Okay, the next
Excellent.
part.
Okay, and I sent Jacob a message. Didn't get any. Yeah, if we're going to do our Chavruta discussion, Jacob, this week, I think Jacob's now in the United States rather than being in France at the moment.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, if we're going to do Chavruta discussion on Tuesday, Jacob, I need to send you a new Zoom link. The other one, I only set it up for X number of weeks, so I'll look for that in an email if you can make it. And you're in a new time zone, too, so we'll be closer in time. So, excellent. Rabbi, beautiful session today. You really clarified a lot that, there's always some part in that lesson that seams things together for myself, and I hope it did for the rest of the students. We're joined by many people in the Zoom meeting, so it's always a joy to have you all here. If anybody's got any final questions for the Rabbi, now's your chance. If not, I think we'll wind it down for today. And we are aiming to be back next week for more and details about the golden calf and what the implications were in the relevance of the Hebrew tradition. So, yeah, look forward to hearing more on that. So, till next week, I think we'll sign out for now. Bye for now, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Have a great week. Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you.